Do you guys hear that?
Is that boss music?
Go naked and just go with the sword, and that's it.
What do I do with all this?
It says it in the title.
Of course, it doesn't hurt that you kept winning those games.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unearthing Games podcast. My name is Erica.
And I'm Nick.
And we dig games. Sorry for this delay. This is actually our second time trying to record this episode. So hopefully it's better than the first time.
Yeah, we had some technical difficulties. The audio was basically unusable. Not really sure what happened, but hopefully it's good to go this time.
Yeah. So how have you been? What have you been up to since the last time we recorded, which was about a month ago?
Yeah, I mean, things have been good. I mean, I feel like April was a crazy month for games.
Yes.
Lots of things coming out. Like Bethesda did the surprise drop of Oblivion Remaster, which was really cool. I've been kind of struggling to focus on just one game.
Yeah.
So I do have my game to present today, but I have been leapfrogging between a bunch of different games. I mean, several of which are going to be on the podcast, hopefully, but it's been having a hard time focusing on those. So
yeah. At least you did your homework and you did at least one game for this episode.
Yeah.
I think I've been kind of the same. I don't think I've played a lot of games this month. We're going to talk about a few here today, but I think I've had the opposite, where it's been hard for me to find a game that I really want to just like stick to and keep coming back to over and over.
Yeah, I get you.
But I've already started playing the game for next month's episode, and I'm excited about that one too. So
yeah, that one's really cool. I'm really excited for that one, but we'll get to it.
Before skipping to next month's episode, let's go on with today's episode. So we'll start with you. What game did you play for this?
Yeah, absolutely. So this month, the game I've got to present is called Potion Permit. So this was developed by Massive Hive Media. Well, Mass Hive Media, sorry.
Yeah.
Published by P-Cube, and it came out in September of 22.
Okay.
So a couple of years old, not too bad though.
Mm-hmm.
Its description on Steam is, Moonbury's residents need healing, and you're the best chemist around. With your trusty tools, a brewing cauldron, and a canine companion at your side, you'll need to diagnose symptoms, gather ingredients, brew potions, and cure ailments in this open-ended sim RPG.
Okay.
Its tags are single-player, colorful, JRPG, life sim, and I kind of want to add cozy in there. Like, it doesn't have cozy on it, but I definitely would call it kind of a cozy game.
Mine adds pixel graphics.
Oh, it is pixel art.
Instead of life sim, so...
It's interesting.
I always think it's interesting how Steam chooses to choose the tags. I know we talked about it
back when I played Control.
Yes.
How mine said female protagonist and yours didn't mention that.
Mine didn't, yeah.
And so it's like, well, yeah, Steam really cares. Like, so that's interesting. So that the tags are different for both of us. I'll have to pull up the tags when you talk about yours and see what they look like.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, the description is really apt. So yeah, you're like, it has a lot of Stardew Valley vibes, I would say. You are a guy from the big city moving out to this small town. In this one, you've been sent here on assignment. Your person's part of like a, I don't know, like a chemists league sort of thing, like a medical association kind of deal. Like you're part of that group, and they have in the past been banned from this island with reason, kind of as you discover throughout the game, as you uncover the story. But they've asked for a chemist. You know, they've reached out to the capital and said, hey, we'd like help, but we want like someone new. We don't want a seasoned veteran. And so they send you out there, and like you're sent there on special assignment. And yeah, the town doesn't really have a doctor of any sorts. And so you're the next, you're like the first thing to come into town to help out with that. So it's pretty cool. It's very relaxing. I will say it is fairly slow in pacing, which I think isn't a bad thing. Like, it's kind of intentionally done that way. I feel that's why I said I wanted to call it cozy. So I really, like I said, I had a good time playing it. I definitely haven't beaten it. The game is sort of broken up. Like, the gameplay loop is broken up into about 3 different segments, phases, I guess you could call it. So phase 1 is gather ingredients / explore, because you have like the wilderness outside of town that you can go and wander around in, and you pick herbs and mushrooms, and you can fight little monsters to get monster ingredients from, like one of them is like a slimes, like little jelly monsters, and you kill them and you get, monster jelly, and you can use that for making potions. And you also explore, and that's how one of the ways you can kind of uncover parts of the story, where you uncover, why the medical association was banned previously. You help kind of clean up the mess that those past people had made, and kind of endear yourself to the town. The second phase of the game would be the medical phase, where you go and you have a little clinic that's attached to your house that you go to, and like a little klaxon siren will go off where it's like burp, burp. And you go and someone's in one of the medical beds and they're like, "Oh, doc, my right arm hurts," and you have this little mini game where it shows like a little person's outline, and you hover a magnifying glass over it to try to find the problem, And as you're hovering over their right arm, you find a little red X and like, oh, there's the boo-boo, and you click on it and it's like time to diagnose. And you have like 3 or 4 little mini games you can do to do the diagnosis. And they're all, I don't know, like little, kind of, just funny, different little puzzle sort of, mini games. Like one is very Dance Dance Revolution, where you have the different arrows sliding at you. And so you have to like hit them in combo as they hit the bar, so up, down, right, up, down, left. One of them is kind of Flappy Bird-esque, where obstacles are flying in from the right side of the screen to the left, and you have to move the little cursor up and down to dodge them.
Mm-hmm.
And then you diagnose it, and it's like, oh, this person has a bruise, or a rash or something. And your person, being that they're medically trained, already knows what to do for it. It's like, oh, they have a rash. You need to make blue tonic to deal with that. And you go back to your lab, and you have a cauldron that you brew potions in. And that starts kind of the next mini game, which is basically every potion has sort of a set grid where it's kind of a different shape, and all of the ingredients that you collect have corresponding shapes to them. So the monster jelly might be kind of like they're all sort of Tetris shapes. So it might be kind of like an L shape, where it's like 3 down and then 1 to the right, and that's like one of the shapes. And they're all shaped like that. And you have to figure out what ingredients are the most efficient use to fill in this grid.
Mm-hmm.
Because you also have a limit on how many ingredients you can use. As you're progressing through the game, you can level up your cauldron, and that increases how many ingredients you can use, which also broadens how many potions you can make, because certain potions
need more ingredients.
are going to need more ingredients. Yeah. So it's so there's that part. You go and you tend to the person, and they're like, "Thanks, doc, I'm already feeling better." And then that kind of feeds into the last part, which is the social aspect of the game, where the game wants you to go and talk to all of the villagers. You want to kind of build relationship with them. On top of building relationship with them, you also kind of want to basically have public approval, I guess you could say. I never failed any of the treatments of people, but I guess you could fail, and you would get like negative approval from them. And your approval rating is one of the ways that you progress through the game. Like, to unlock other areas to explore in the wilderness, you have to get like a kind of like a permission slip from town hall to go to those areas. And you qualify for the permission slip by basically building your public approval rating, so becoming friends with people, doing well at the medical part so that they like you. And it was pretty cool. And the social bit, I think it had a big focus on the social bit. Because like every time you go and talk to a person, just like in Stardew Valley, like when you go and talk to someone, you build a little bit of a relationship with them. Well, that's the same here. Whenever time you go and talk to somebody, you have a little meter that starts filling. And that is how, you slowly build up friendships. And whenever the meter would fill up for a person, basically it would set up where an event can now happen for them. And there were different bulletin boards throughout town that would have a display, from those people saying basically when and where to go for their event to happen, which I thought was pretty cool. Because like Stardew Valley, you kind of had to know like the right place and the right time. You want that 5-star event to happen with Clint. You better, make sure that you go into the general store on a Tuesday that it's raining, while Clint is there, and the event would happen, but if you didn't look it up on the wiki, you wouldn't know to do that. Well, this spells it out for you and tells you. So like the event for the person I can think of was, I think their name was Emma, that basically their event was like, hey, everybody, I've testing out a new recipe for cookies, and I'm going to be giving them out in town square at this time to this time. Come and try one. And your character can go try one. And it turns out that, like, they're not very good at baking.
No.
Like, because your person never actually says anything. Like, he speaks through, like, emojis, like little emoticons that pop up over his head,
Okay.
And he makes the little, like sick, like, barfy face little emoticon when he tries the cookie, but he's, like, trying to hide it from Emma because, like, he wants to be friends but doesn't want her to know.
That's funny that you say that, because there was a thing I saw recently about like an experiment for like having difficult conversations, and it was like this little kid made brownies for his class. One batch that he said was from his grandma's super special recipe, and then the second batch was just like a standard box recipe.
Okay.
And the box for the batch with the grandma's recipe, he actually used salt instead of sugar on purpose.
Okay.
And so he took these two things to his friends at school and basically was like, okay, like taste one from each and then tell me which one you think is better. And they all pointed to the ones with the salt, even though they did not like it. You could tell that they were trying to hide that they didn't like it, because they didn't want to lose his friendship by saying that they weren't good, because that recipe is special to him, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's funny that your character did the same thing, where it's like, oh yeah, they're totally great.
So good. Yeah, it was just like that. And so that's just one of the examples. They have a bunch of different events that go on like throughout for the different characters and stuff. Like I said, it gives very big Stardew Valley vibes. That's pretty much the gameplay loop. I mean, as you're going through the game, like I said, you are getting to know all these characters, so you're kind of learning about them, their likes and dislikes, and learning how they interact with everybody, and kind of everybody has different pasts and different histories, and everyone seems to be very jaded about the capital because of whatever experiments happened before that didn't work out very well and caused pollution and stuff. But as you slowly fix all of that, I guess your goal is to heal the wounds and become friends with the town and stuff. So I really enjoyed it. I don't know, you got to watch me play some of it, but maybe not as much. So like, what kind of vibes did you get from it?
Yeah, I saw you play it at the very beginning. I think the first couple of days that you played it, It just seemed very slow. Like, to me, I enjoy a Stardew pace, but I enjoy that there's also a lot to do. It felt like there were sometimes just not a lot of things to do in the game. And so it felt kind of a little bit too slow, where it's like, well, I'm just sitting around waiting, I guess. Like, so I think in that sense, it seemed a little too slow for my liking.
I could agree with that. Like, there were definitely, like, in Stardew Valley, like you said, there was always something to do. Like, you always had places to go and check, people to talk to. You always wanted to make sure your stamina bar was empty and stuff. But in this one, it definitely got to the point where, well, I've talked to everybody today. I don't have any more. Unlike Stardew Valley, you don't give out gifts like random items. You get some stuff called like moon powder that you get as like quest rewards, but also for doing well in the medical stuff. Like if you can treat somebody quickly, you get like moon powder, which is a gift you can give to people. I don't know what it is, like island, powdered sugar or something. I don't know. And that's the gift you give people. So it's like, okay, I wandered around. I gave out all my moon powder. I've talked to everybody. I already have so many ingredients. I don't need to get more. I can't go to the next area because my approval rating isn't high enough yet. I guess I'll go to bed.
Yeah.
And like, I know the game had some mechanics for ways for you to kind of spend the day's time. Like there were a couple of little things you could do in town that were like to make money. Because like on top of like, every time you get paid in like moon powder and approval, you'd also get some cash, and that's part of how you would pay for like house upgrades and things like that. But one of the ways you could get cash were little side jobs, which I only ever found 3 of them. There might be more, but you could like sort items at the police station. You could box up packages at the post office, or you could grind grapes to make holy wine or something like that at the church. And that would like spend 2 hours of in-game time, and you'd earn like, I don't know, 150 coins or something like that. So that was like one way to like spend time. And the game also had a mechanic where it's like, hey, if you just want to brew random potions, you could put them in this drop box and basically like sell them, and like the little courier bird would come and take the potions to sell at the capital kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And those are like ways you could like, I guess, kind of goof off and make some money. But again, it felt like filler to me.
Yeah.
So I never really did that stuff very much unless like I just had nothing to do and I was working towards, like I really wanted to upgrade the house. And so like I would work on upgrading my house, trying to get it a little bit cleaner. Because when you get there, it's very much a rundown, just beat up shack of a place.
Yeah. I mean, that's the same in Stardew, right? Like, I think someone actually calls it a shack and they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know it was your house.
Yeah, it felt like that. And so it definitely was very slow paced. I really enjoyed like playing it on the Steam Deck because it made it where I could kind of take it anywhere and just go relax somewhere while I kind of chill and play, Worked really well on the Steam Deck. So I liked that. I would say that probably is my only complaint with the game is like you said, like there is times where you kind of just run out of stuff to do and then you're lingering. It's like, all right, well, I guess, it's only like, noon. I guess I'll go to bed.
I think the one other thing that just seemed like surprising to me is like you were brought into town because like the mayor's daughter was sick and no one knew how to heal her. And so you were brought in to heal her. And it's like literally she's your first patient and you heal her and then that was it. Yeah. Like to me, it felt like that should have been like a longer drawn out story where it's like, oh, you healed her for now, but that wasn't the actual disease. It was just a symptom of a bigger thing.
Yeah, that would have been a really cool storytelling arc. Like, I completely agree. And I felt the same way because they really hyped it up where it was like, we've done everything we can. We could only ask the capital for help now.
Yeah.
And like you said, and then like I make her like, a healing potion and boom.
Yeah, like the base level, very beginning healing potion. And that's it. She's better. And it's like, oh, okay, well, yeah. I guess that's done.
I think it would have been cool if it was some sort of overarching thing where like as I'm leveling up and developing, she keeps coming back to the clinic with more problems, more issues.
Mm-hmm.
Where like you said, like I'm only treating the symptoms, and then as you're going and learning about the town and learning about the sordid history they have with the capital, maybe her ailment has to do with the pollution and stuff.
Right, yeah.
And so it's like as you're uncovering all of this, you're slowly figuring out what the source of her disease is, but no. She was cured, and then like you do cute little adventures for her and stuff. Like one of her events was like, I want to plant a flower garden for my mom. Can you go and collect certain flowers for me in the wilderness? And fun things like that. She's normal then after that.
She's normal then.
She's normal, yeah. She doesn't like mutate, grow an extra limb or something. No, but it was really cute. I like the art style, but like I'm a sucker for pixel graphics. You know that. So I felt like it was really cute. There was one other thing I forgot to mention about the game, that as you are developing your relationships with all the people, as you're filling up those social meters, the town itself improves. Because like the town isn't like bad in any way, shape, or form, but as you become better friends with everybody, the people in the village start fixing things up. So like it starts off with them fixing things around your house, like they clean up the lawn and the garden in front of your house first, and then they fix the lampposts, and then as you're going, they start fixing up like, oh, the statue in the fountain in the center of town was a little dirty. We cleaned it, and stuff like that. So I thought that was kind of a neat mechanic, but it's sort of, I don't know, in my head it was kind of like, y'all just never wanted to clean your town before? You got to wait for some stranger to come into town and be like, I guess we should clean this up,
Hey, I mean, we could say the same about the tidiness of our house generally.
That's true. We wait till like your parents are going to come visit, and then
we
it's
need
like,
to clean it.
Clean it all. I'm on my hands and knees, like scrubbing the grout and the tile and stuff like that. Like we never touch that stuff. But, but yeah, so that was mine. I know I rambled on for a long time. Sorry about that. What game did you play this month?
All right. So my game this month was Duck Detective: The Secret Salami. It is developed and published by Happy Broccoli Games. It was released May 23 of 2024, so last year.
Okay.
And it says, solving crime is no walk in the pond. You are down on his luck detective who also happens to be a duck. Use your powers of deduction to inspect evidence, fill in the blanks, and bust the case wide open. This is a short but twisty detective case. And the tags are detective, investigation, casual, short, and cute. For me, the cute is what brought me in to play this game. It is absolutely adorable. It starts out and it's like the detective noir kind of thing. Like you're in your office, it's dark and it's rainy, and it's like, oh, of all the days, for something to happen, it had to be today or whatever. But yeah, so you play as the duck detective. His name is Eugene McQuacklin. And you get called in to basically like an office, and it's an office for the residential, or I guess regional bus service. There are like 9 people that work in the office, and you're called in because someone stole a lunch. And so that's your big case. And so you're trying to figure out who stole the lunch, but there's more to it than it seems. And I won't say what it is, but because it's a detective game, you've got to figure it out. But the gameplay is really cute. As you're going through and talking to people or investigating things around the area, the crime scene, you just find like notes, handwritten notes, or, like a calendar with people's birthdays and stuff like that. And each time you look at something, it'll give you like words. So there's like a note you can find that's like, if so-and-so steals my mug again, I swear, like it'll be the end of them kind of thing. And it'll give you the word like angry or something. Yeah. And so as you go through, the way that you are making your deductions is kind of like a Mad Libs style format where it'll say, blank is being blank by blank because the whatever, and so each of those blanks, as you find words, gives you options of putting words in there. So it could be like, oh, Freddie is mad at whoever and so that's how you're solving the case, one deduction at a time, which is really cute. The art style is really cute. The little characters are all like paper people.
Okay, kind of like I remember that I watched / helped you play this, and I know they felt very Paper Mario-esque, where it was like little paper cutouts that the paper mold just kind of like boop, 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 like scooches across the screen. They don't actually like walk or anything.
Yeah,
like that.
Just
they
like toodles around. Yeah, waddles around, I guess. Yeah, as a duck would. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so it's really cute. You're trying to figure out who stole the lunch, and I think there are about 9 employees that work here, from like the receptionist to customer service reps to the bus driver, and then the manager himself. And so you get to learn about each of them and their little backstories and their motivations, and yeah, I think it's really cute. Very short.
Yeah.
But I really liked it. It was just a fun game just to get in, get it done, and get out. And I think I almost 100%ed this game. There's just one achievement to knock down all the trash cans in the office, and I didn't do that.
Yeah, 'cause, like, it definitely seemed like as the duck was wandering around the office, that he was kind of a menace, because he would like knock over everything.
I don't think he was a menace. I think he was clumsy, maybe.
Well, maybe it was supposed to be like
because he's getting off of the bread.
Things,
he's hooked on the bread. This is him coming off of the bread.
But he knocks over everything. Like he knocks over cups of pens and trash cans and everything.
Yeah. So it's really cute. I liked it a lot.
It had some fun mechanics. Like I also liked the like whenever you first met somebody, you had a whole thing where you could do a sort of like you examine them as a person, where it felt very much like kind of like in Sherlock when like he has that flash where like he looks at somebody and like it zooms on to like their lapel and it's like, oh, there's cat hair, they have a cat. Oh, there's whatever, they have this and that. And so I imagine that it's the the duck detective spotting all these details. So like, and it would give you words for your Mad Lib where it's like, he has mustard on his shirt, messy or something like that.
Yeah.
And got whatever. So I thought that minigame was pretty cool. And like, I really liked the Mad Lib parts and all that stuff, but like the Mad Libs all had, I guess, a right answer, you know? So like there was like the correct answer to move on to the next stage of the investigation. But I liked that the end was kind of open-ended, where you could kind of make a choice.
Yes, you did get to make a choice, and then at the very end, after credits, it would show you like what percentage of people made the choices that you did or made different choices, which was interesting.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of cool, that it did kind of give you some agency in deciding like, well, who's guilty, you know?
Yes.
So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, and the sequel is coming out May 22nd, so it'll come out this month. So I'm excited for the sequel to come.
Yeah.
It's a short game, but it was really cute and really fun, and I want to crochet myself a little duck detective to sit on my desk because he's just adorable.
Mr. Quacklin.
Yes.
Yeah, it was really cute and definitely excited for the sequel. Like you said, it wasn't very long. Like I think we beat it in an afternoon.
Yeah.
Right? Or an evening. But also it's not very expensive. So it's definitely worth the money.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was a really fun, cute game. All the characters felt really interesting and unique and like, you know, so I thought it was pretty cool.
It was very cute. So since my game was so short and we did get to play a few other games this month, we thought it'd be a good point to kind of put these in here. These are co-op games, games that we played cooperatively. That you can do solo or co-op in these games.
But we played them together.
Yeah. In our first take, this was a surprise to Nick, but we decided we were just going to go ahead and add them in. No more surprise. So the first game that we played together was Kingdom 2 Crowns, and specifically the Call of Olympus update. Yeah, Call of Olympus DLC. So Kingdom 2 Crowns is it is tagged as Tower Defense, Minimalist, City Builder, and Building. It is published by Raw Fury, developed by Stumpy Squid, Fury Studios, and Coatsink. And it says, gather coins, build defenses, and reclaim your fallen kingdom. Explore and uncover secrets, unlock new technologies, and protect your crown versus waves of greed monsters that come at night. Kingdom is a solo or co-op micro-strategy and tower defense game set in an atmospheric pixel world. So I know we had played this way back when.
Yeah, because Kingdom came out a long time ago.
Yeah. And it's a so pixel art side scrolly. You're kind of looking at just kind of like a cross section of the world, I guess is how you could say.
Because you can really only move left or right as you're playing. So
you're just running around and you're trying to defeat the greed monsters, and it's on a set of islands is how it works. And so you start on the beginner island, which is generally pretty easy. There's 2 portals that spawn the monsters, and that's where they come from each night. And you're trying to destroy the portals, get rid of the greed, and, you know, just keep growing. And so once you're done with one island, you go to the next. Specifically in Olympus, they had like themed islands based on the gods, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And so like I know they had, I think the Pantheon ones that they picked, the primary ones were, I think it was like Hermes, Hephaestus, Artemis, and Athena.
I think that's right.
Yeah. And so each of them, they all had kind of a pre-island that you had to complete to get to the main island. Mm-hmm. And the pre-islands were just kind of like the basic game. You know, that was like, all right, go ahead and conquer the island, move back and forth. You had to like kind of like rebuild a shrine to that god on the pre-island. And once you built that shrine, then you could go to their main one. And the main island for each god had like a puzzle that you needed to complete, or a challenge, you know, kind of either way you could kind of look at it. I know, like the Artemis one, because she's the hunter, I think, right? I'm really struggling with mythology right now, but right. The Artemis one, her island, there's like the original game had like a tutorial ghost that would follow you around and like tell you how to do certain things as you're playing. Well, in Call of Olympus, that ghost is always following you. They're like the Oracle. So whenever something different comes up, that ghost is there being like, oh yeah, do this, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And there's on every island, there's like a little shrine you could pay a coin at to get a clue. Like in case you're like stuck and you don't know what to do with the puzzle, the oracle would tell you like, oh, and it would say it in some vague fashion to like how to do it.
Yeah,
But,
kind of riddly.
yeah, and like the clue the oracle gives you on the Artemis Island was like, lead the golden stag to its cage, you know, or to the trap. And it's like, okay, well, what does that even mean, you know? And as you're exploring the island, eventually you'll see the golden stag, and you have to figure out, okay, well, how do we get this golden stag to follow us to this trap, or how do we lead it to the trap, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then like the Athena Island basically was perpetual winter until you could figure out how to free her daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought that was
Yes.
kind of neat, you know. And so you had to like free her daughter Persephone kind of thing from the hands of greed. And then once you figured that out, then winter would go away. And winter was kind of a new thing for us.
Right. I don't think the first time we played there was a winter, because when we started this run, and we were just at the first islands, like we were working with Hermes or whatever, trying to get his stuff done, winter came up and we're just like, what happened? Because you can spend your coins that you're gathering on a variety of things. And so one of the things you can spend it on is a farm, and the farmers will harvest coins. So it's all just money. Your archers that protect you at night can also hunt bunnies and squirrels and stuff. Your spearmen will fish. They will spear fish from the water. So the way that it looks is like there's basically you're along a river. I guess since it's an island, it would be the ocean. Yeah. But you see the ocean in the forefront, then you're on the land, and then it's you just running around back and forth. And there's like background stuff too, based on the island. But your little spearmen will fish in the water that's in the forefront. And so each fish is a coin, each squirrel's a coin. The farms produce a lot.
Yeah, they would produce like yeah, it would take them like maybe an in-game day or two.
Right.
But then it would produce like 6 coins or 8 coins out of one farm.
Yeah. Well, and then you can have a lot of farmers per farm. So like if you built a farm, it could have, I think we got up to 6 farmers in one farm.
Yeah.
And so each of those 6 farmers are producing 6 coins. Like that's a lot of coins. And there are times too, like you have a little coin pouch, and if your coin pouch gets full, you'll just drop the coins and they'll fall into the water and you lose money.
Yeah.
So you're trying to spend money as much as you can and upgrade and build things. But when winter came, the farm has like a little water mill in the front, and the water mill froze over and there was no more water. And I was like, what is happening? And all the little farmers, instead of hanging out at the farm like they usually do, they all wandered back into the middle of the town.
Yep.
And it was like, oh no, like how are we going to get money now? Because you already expanded so far. You kind of tore down the forests and stuff. And so it's like, well, there's nothing to hunt. I guess the fisher guys are the ones we're relying on at this point to
Yeah.
to
But
get
even
fish.
then, it felt like even those other sources, like the fishing and the hunting, in winter declined also. Because like
Yeah.
if you have an open field outside of your wall, because if it's in your wall, animals don't spawn there. But outside your wall, even in winter, there would be less rabbits and stuff like that spawning in the wintertime.
Yeah.
So all of your money sources just decline, and like these berry bushes would spawn, which I remember the oracle appeared to us. It was like,
Oh, is that
harvest
how we found
winter's
out?
bounty. And I was like, oh,
That's
okay.
right. That's right. Yes. And yeah, there's a specific little bush that you can spend a coin to have your little farmers come out and harvest. And 4 little farmers will come out, and they maybe get like 2 or 3 coins each. So significantly less, but you could harvest it every day.
Yeah.
You just had to be careful to not build a wall too close to the bush, or else the bush would go away.
Yeah.
There
Sometimes
was-
it would move, but then sometimes it would just go away.
Well, and there was one point too where I had a bush safely within my wall. Like I was like, I'm not gonna build next to that bush because I need it to stay there. But then like the little shrine to each of the gods showed up right in that spot because it was in the wall now. And my bush went away. And it was like, I needed that berry bush. We need money.
Yep. So winter was definitely a slog. Like it slows your progression, your expansion down, because you're not making money. So if you lose troops when the greed attacks, you're having a hard time replacing them. And
Yeah. And then the one mechanic that was really cool in this one that we didn't realize was specific to the Call of Olympus was to defeat the greed, you have to break their portals down. So you have to have your little army go out and attack it. Generally, how you do that is you have to upgrade your main castle at the center of town. And you start out with wood, and then you can, on your second island, find stone as a resource to upgrade to stone. And then on, 3 or 4, you find iron, and then you can upgrade all the way to
Like the
iron.
maximum tier.
And once you do upgrade it, then you can recruit knights, and they have like little shields, and they go, and you can send them out on a charge. It costs like 5 gold or 5 coins to send them out, but they'll kind of lead the charge, and they'll stand at the front with their little shields protecting the archers that are standing behind them from the greed as they're shooting the portal.
Yeah, the archers are doing the actual attacking, and the knights just there protecting them.
Yeah, protecting. And if you give them coins, they are stronger. Like they can take more hits themselves, which is cute. But in the Olympus one, it also gives you an option to like pick up a banner, and a little set of troops will follow you. And so you could go out and lead charges on your own. And we didn't realize that this was specific to Olympus because we finished Olympus and we were like, okay, cool. Like, let's do one of the other ones. I think we were going to do the Deadlands one. And it didn't have the banners. And so on the first island, you can't actually defeat the island because you can't get your knights yet because the upgrade resources are on upcoming islands. So you kind of have to just abandon the island and leave your little archers and knights behind and just say, good luck, goodbye. Maybe I'll come back, maybe I won't.
Yeah.
Who's to say?
You feel bad, like it's like the lifeboats on the Titanic where it's like, well, only so many people can go. I'm gonna jump in my boat with my horse, and 3 of you guys can come with us to the next island. All right, bye.
That was one thing too that was really interesting. So once you get the knights, to go from island to island, you have to build a boat. On each island, there's like a destroyed boat because you basically crash landed on this island that you're on.
Yeah.
But each time you build your boats, they had little side boats that would come with you. Yeah. And so each island, if you left and you built knights on that island, then they would each jump into a little boat and follow you to the next one. And then same with the next one. So as long as your knights didn't die, you could have a lot of knights by the time you got to the end.
Yeah. Because those knights you brought with you from the previous island didn't take up your knight slots in the new island. So you could have double the knights on that island. So you'd have it was wild. We had like 8 at one point knights, and it was pretty cool. Yeah,
it did make it nice too, though, I think, as far as progression wise, because every day that you're playing the game, the greed attacks at night get harder and harder. So it doesn't matter if it's your first night on the 3rd island, your attack is going to be pretty significant. And so being able to bring the knights over with you was really helpful, especially to begin with, because you start with the bare minimum, like wooden walls, and like there's like 2 or 3 people just wandering around, like, give us gold and we'll work for you. And so it's like with wooden walls and like 3 people, there's no way we're going to fend off this raid. So bringing the knights with you is really nice.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. And I liked that. And I liked that when you called in, like when you led your own charge to go and attack the portals, one of the knights would still go with you, but they would hop in a boat and sail behind you.
Yeah.
So as you're leading your little posse of spearmen and archers, that knight's in the boat behind you with a ballista on his boat, like, yeah, let's go, boss, let's go.
And some archers, right? And I think that's really cool, too, because the ones in the boat don't get attacked by the greed, because the greed's only on land.
Yep.
So they'll just be little, fire support. Like, they can specifically attack the portal while the guys on land are fending off the greed that's coming out because they're mad you're attacking their portal. But yeah, so that was a lot of fun. We did finish the Olympus DLC. We started Deadlands, and then we were like, we can't start attack, so it's a little too slow. So
it was a little slow. It was cool. I mean, it definitely seems like they slowly added different mechanics as they were growing it. Because like when Two Kingdoms first came out, it was just the vanilla like medieval setting, with your knights and your archers and your castles. They also had Shogun, which I think was a free DLC where it was basically the same vibe but reskinned as samurai and all that.
Yeah,
which was cool. But then Deadlands came out and added some different different mechanics. Like they added the different characters you could get.
Yes.
And every character had different powers. Like I think you had one that could cast an ice spell in front of them that would like freeze bad guys, right?
Yes.
And then I got one where I could turn into like a vampire bat where I couldn't do anything, but I could move really fast.
You moved quickly.
While I was in bat mode. So that was cool. And then I know I played a little bit of the Northlands one on my own, just trying to see if I could do it. And that one had some real changes to the mechanics, which I thought was kind of cool. Not as cool as Call of Olympus, obviously, but they added things where, like, because it was Vikings, so all of them, you could make shields, and everybody picked up shields. So, like, the builders picked up shields, the farmers picked up shields, the archers picked up shields. And when the attacks were happening at night, you could spend a gold and have them form, like, a shield wall, and they make, like, a little phalanx, and push them, they'd push out of the wall to push the greed back. And they would kill the greed that they hit, and if there was a big guy, they would push the big guy back. And then they would kind of sit there and try to hold the line, you know?
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty cool. So that was a little different compared to the other one. The Norseland ones did have a lot of the stuff kind of like Call of Olympus, where they had the Norse god puzzles.
Okay.
They were a bit more random and then trying to figure them out and stuff, but it had a similar vibe to Call of Olympus, where when you completed the puzzles, you could get special buffs from those gods. Like I know I got Thor's hammer at one point, which I could use it and it would like call down lightning bolts to hit the greed monsters kind of thing. And it would just strike them at random, you know, which was helpful. Also, if you used it, it would also strike like rabbits and deer and stuff too. Like if there was no greed nearby.
Yeah.
So that's a way to harvest some gold. So it was pretty cool. I definitely think Call of Olympus is like the apotheosis so far. Like it's the best version. Like I really enjoyed it and would play more like that if I could leave my own gang of troops.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was really cool. The second game we have to talk about, so 2 co-op games today, is Traveler's Rest. And so this one is actually early access. But on Steam, this is tagged as Life Sim, Pixel Graphics, Management, and RPG. It's developed and published by Isolated Games, also Indie Arc. And it says, craft, farm, build, and cook. In Traveler's Rest, you will have to use all the available tools to become the best tavern keeper in the realm. Create unique dishes and drinks to please your customers as you discover the world and its colorful characters. And so this was one that we were playing a lot of. And then we started thinking, this is early access and there's still things that aren't finished. Because you could tell, at least as far as we were in the game, that there were areas that weren't done yet. And so it was like, maybe we should pause and come back to this when it's done. But basically you have it starts just as like a little restaurant bar.
yeah, you have a little tavern.
To me, taverns mean they have an inn.
I guess so. Yeah. So it starts off as a bar and restaurant. You're
yeah. Right. I don't know why I think of that as
you have your own medieval Chili's. Come on down to our bar and grill, baby.
But yeah, and so you have little crafting recipes to make different foods. You start out pretty basic, like you can make soups like chicken broth, or I guess it's meat broth, fish broth, and then vegetable broth. And you go into town, you buy ingredients, you can grow them on your own, you can have your own farm, you can have your own animals, you craft things, you can make tables and benches and basically expand and you start with like 2 tables that can sit 8 people each.
Mm-hmm.
And then from that you can add more things, and you know, there's cute little mechanics where like if it's nighttime, it'll get chilly, so you have to turn the fireplace on, and it's really just like a restaurant management game because you have to make sure you have the right food, and then you have drinks, so you can brew your own drinks like mead and beer and things like that. And it's just, there's like the crafting and creating things, and then there's like what I think is the main part of the game is running the restaurant. So you open your restaurant and people start coming in and they'll order things, and so you have to go take them their drinks and make sure you have food. The food is easy because they come up to the counter to order food, so you just kind of click on them and it serves them. The drinks you have to actually pour from the kegs or the taps and then take them to the people. So that's a little more involved. But then you can hire staff. You can hire a bartender, a waitress, right?
Yeah, there was a bartender to manage the drink pouring and the food serving from the bar.
Yes.
The waitress would deliver drinks to people and clean tables.
Yes.
They'd also clean up because people would make messes on the floor.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, as you do at a bar, I guess.
As you do.
Yeah, as you do. I mean, I personally have never made a mess like that at a bar.
Well, I was going to say, it's like when you play Plate Up and there's just like random messes on the floor from eating. And I'm just like, who does this? Like, how is there food on the floor? It's the similar thing.
But yeah, you had the bartender that you could hire to do that, the waitress or the waiter to serve the food. You could get a bouncer.
Yes.
Because some people would get grumpy and they'd start like yelling about like, I want to talk to the manager. This place is lousy. And like the longer you let them do that, it starts like everybody starts having a negative like rating of your bar.
Yeah. And so you're trying to build up your reputation. And that's kind of how you level up and you can unlock different recipes and things like that. But yeah, if they start yelling and you don't deal with it, and by deal with it, I mean go and hit them with your mop. It makes everyone else really angry. I feel like if I was in a restaurant and someone was like, oh, this restaurant sucks, or my drink was watered down is what they usually say, and starts running around just yelling that, I'd be more annoyed with them than I would be at the restaurant. But if someone came out and hit them with a mop, I'd be really annoyed with the restaurant. I'd be like, I will never come back here.
Yeah, but this is like medieval times, where it's like, hey, get on out of here, whack, be happy it's just a mop and I didn't use the shovel, kind of thing.
Yeah. But yeah, the first time that we had a customer like that, I didn't know how to deal with it. Neither of us did. And they were just running around being angry and we're like, what do we do? And Nick hit them with the mop and it was like, were we supposed to do that?
I was at that point, I was just hitting every button, testing out every item, trying to see what will make them stop. And that worked.
It was actually the right solution. Like I said, I feel like it's a little too aggressive, but that's just me. But yeah, and then eventually once you build rooms, then you have an innkeeper as well.
Yeah.
And so they'll kind of run the hotel front desk. And if anyone's staying in the rooms, they order food and drinks to the room. So you have to go to the room and serve all these drinks. And so we had ours, like there's like a little upstairs that kind of leads to nothing. That's where we decided to build our room. So it was like, oh, let me leave the bar for a bit and all these people out here because this one person wants a drink. But yeah, so it was nice to get that person to manage the rooms. And then they'll also clean the room. So once the person leaves, they'll leave a mess in the room. And so you have to make the bed and clean off the table and stuff like that. And so they'll manage that for you as well.
Yeah, it was really cool. I mean, I feel like the drink brewing, I don't know if that was like the initial thing, because like we're I think a bit late coming into this while it's in early access.
Oh yeah, so the release date shows July 2020. So
Okay.
it's been around
So
for
we're definitely several years into the early access, but the drink making mechanics in my mind felt very flushed out. Like there was a lot of cool stuff going on. Like, and it's interesting that like you grow the different crops, and you can grow different. You grow your wheat, your barley. You grow different types of hops and things like that. Grapes, and all the different crops that you're making, you can then take them and use them along with certain types of yeast that you have to go and buy to make specific alcohols. And like you can get your own apiary to start making mead and like I spent so much time just like my full-time job was just making drinks.
Yeah, I don't think I ever brewed a drink. You were totally in the brewing phase of that. Yeah, I was just like, I'm gonna go and tend to our cow and things like that. I was more restaurant, and I would manage the food service type of thing, and you were really just running back and forth trying to make sure we had drinks on tap.
Yeah, which was really cool. And I mean, it had a lot of mechanics where like you had aging barrels, because like you had to age your alcohol a little bit. Like you can't just sell, hot off the press, lager. You had to age it at least a couple of days, which I thought was interesting. And so the longer you age it, the more it would sell for. And all of the alcohols were like that. So I thought that was really cool. And then all the different alcohols had different ingredients, like the different hops and stuff, but then you would add other things too,
Yeah.
And The cooking was really cool too, though, because like it had, you had to like make bread, and then you would grind up the bread. Like you could make bread and sell bread on its own,
Yeah.
or you could like grind up the bread and then use those breadcrumbs to make breading for onion rings.
Yes.
And then you could have, onion, breadcrumbs, and oil to make onion rings. And so like at one point we really were running like a Chili's bar and grill where it was like burgers and onion rings and, it was and like lemonade and stuff. It was great.
Yeah. I mean, it was really fun. And looking at the pictures as I scroll by on the Steam page, we did not do nearly enough to our restaurant. There's one that has like outdoor seating, like a whole little patio area, which I didn't even know was a thing. I don't know. So we obviously didn't go as far into it as we thought we did. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun, and we didn't want to do it too much before feeling like it was kind of just the same day in and day out.
It had a lot of areas that you could go and explore. And you could go wander around and find things like up in the north, there was like a mine that hasn't been implemented yet. Or like the entrance to the mine has some poor guy that's like frozen in ice blocking the mine shaft. And when I Googled like what's up with that, well, that doesn't open yet. It's like, okay, well, we'll get there. And then like you could go and explore other things. And like there's lots of areas to wander around and explore and find stuff. And there's a whole town that you talked about going to meet the people and buy the meat, buy the seeds, buy the veggies, the fish. You buy your tavern supplies from the local bar, which was really cool. And apparently a lot of that's been added because like in the original game, apparently you had a catalog that you ordered things out of that would show up in that chest outside the front door.
Yeah.
So it had a lot of cool stuff. It just felt like maybe there was some stuff missing. Obviously, we didn't get as far into it as we were feeling like we were.
I think we did good for where we were at. We didn't do a whole year in the game. We were barely in the second season when we decided, you know what, maybe we shouldn't do this. So because we were playing that like every hour of the day.
Every evening we would be like, you want to play some Traveler's Rest?
Yeah, let's just do a few days. Because I think in that sense, it's nice because there is a clock. So there is a day, kind of like Stardew. By like 2 a.m., I think you'll pass out if you don't make it to your bed. As the second player, I was annoyed that I had to stay out in the guest quarters. Well, it wasn't even the guest quarters. It was like, there's this, you walk into the inn and to the right of the front door is a secondary door near the well where you get your water from. And that's literally just for the co-op players. There's 3 bedrooms in there and that's it. And that's where you have to stay.
So you can have 4 players in this.
Yeah. Wow. And the one thing that was a bit annoying too is that, so the way that it's set out, it's 3 bedrooms along like the back wall, all on one hallway. When you walk in through the front door, you can walk into one bedroom immediately. And I tried to sleep in that bedroom. It's like, this isn't your bed. Like I had to walk in, turn left, go all the way down the hallway and then into my room when there was a perfectly good empty room right there in front of me. Let me sleep in whatever bed I want to. Yeah, as long as it's a bed, I don't
let me pick one.
So that was a bit annoying. But other than because your bed was right behind the bar, like right next to the kitchen.
Yeah, the first player's bedroom is this little closet of a room in the back next to the kitchen kind of thing.
Yeah.
The extra players actually had really big rooms, just nothing in them.
With nothing in them. And then there was, I didn't understand, there's also like a chest at the foot of the bed that to me seemed like if I left the game, then all of my stuff would be put in that chest so that the main player could get access to it. Like if I took all the beer or whatever and then left the game, it would be in that chest.
Yeah.
But you said you weren't able to open it when I wasn't in the game. And I wasn't able to open it when I was in the game.
I don't know if I tried to open it when you weren't there. Okay. But I did try to open it once when you were there, and it said this isn't your chest.
Yeah, it told me the same thing. I was like, but it's in my room. Like, why can't I put stuff in here?
Yeah.
I think the inventory management was a bit difficult as well, especially with the starting size of the kitchen. It was just way too small to have all of the ingredients and stuff. And so we ended up building a lot of just chests and putting them everywhere to try to store stuff.
Yeah.
Especially until we figured out what to do with a lot of them.
Very cool game. We'll definitely be going back to it.
Yes.
But like you said, it was just we didn't want to get too far in it, too invested to then have like some major update come and like wipe what we've done or something like that, you know? And so I really like that game is like my jam, like that tavern management. Like I'm running a little business here and
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun, you know?
It was honestly a lot of fun. I find a lot of joy in like restaurant management games. There was a game my sister and I used to play a long time ago, and I can't think of the name of it now, but basically it was you had to serve a restaurant. Like you were the hostess kind of, or host or whatever. So you had to seat people at tables and then serve them food. And you had the people in the bar making the food, but you didn't actually make the food. You were just serving people. And it was like if they were business people, and you can tell because they were dressed in like a suit or whatever, they would get impatient faster.
Interesting.
And so you had to make sure you got them food and snacks and stuff. And then if it was like old people and it was cute little like granny, grandpa kind of style, they would take a lot longer to eat. Okay. So you didn't want to necessarily put them in a table that you would need relatively quickly.
But maybe they were more patient.
Yes, but they were more patient. And then there's just the standard customer, right? And so it was like all these little things that you kind of had to balance. And then it was like, it was also color based, if I remember correctly. Like the customers would wear different color clothes, like green and purple. And some tables were purple specific and some were green specific. And so it was like kind of a puzzle game too, and like where you kind of set them. I need to look.
Sounds really interesting.
I need to look up what game that was because I really enjoyed it. And I keep thinking Quick Serve Delicious, but that's not it. That's a different game.
Delicious. I've seen you play that one.
Diner Dash.
I was thinking that my sister used to play Diner Dash.
Yes, that one.
Okay.
That's the game. And so the whole like serving food, seating people kind of thing, it kind of scratches that itch for me. I don't know. I enjoy it.
I really like, for some reason, like merchant shop running games for some reason make me happy. And it's one of those things like in real life, I think I've always talked about like, wouldn't it be cool if I like ran a restaurant, if I owned a restaurant kind of thing? Like the more I think about it, the more I'm like, in real life, I wouldn't want to because people suck. But in a game, it's a lot of fun.
Oh, Diner Dash apparently has mostly negative reviews on Steam.
Oh, that's sad. But yeah.
So that was our second co-op game.
Yeah, so I guess now we can jump into our board game.
Yes.
Which is another multiplayer. So we have kind of like, this is like the cherry on top of our multiplayer section, right? So.
Okay, so the board game we played was Everdell Duo. It was released in 2025. It says, use resources to play cards and create your own woodland city. It is 1 to 2 players, takes about 30 minutes. It says age is 10 plus. It was designed by James Wilson and Clarissa Wilson. The artist is Engar Edursa and Andrew Bosley, and published by Starling Games.
Okay.
So yeah, we've played Everdell before. I think we talked about it on the podcast before.
Yep, it's my number 1 game. I love it.
Oh yeah, we talked about it in our last episode.
I love Everdell. Worker placement, cute animal art style. I mean, plus it's like a kind of a city builder vibe. Like, I love worker placement games. You know that.
Yeah.
And I love that Everdell Duo is still a worker placement game. It uses, like, I don't know if it's all the same artwork from the other Everdells.
I think so.
But like, it definitely reuses some of the art. Maybe it has some of its own special stuff, but
yeah.
And it still scratches that itch. And I think it does a really, really good job of condensing the Everdell gameplay loop into a specifically 2-player, faster format. Like on the front of the box, it says play in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that really hits the head. Like, I think it took us a little bit longer.
It was our first time playing. So there were a few like icons that were like, what does this mean? Because it was like, green card does not equal green card. And it was like, I don't understand. And It was activate 2 different green cards, which I don't think I could get from just looking at green card doesn't equal green card, but that's just me.
Yeah, I don't know. But we had it. We got there.
Okay, so the way this plays, so similar to Everdell, it's done over seasons. You only have 3 workers to place. And then the area where you're drafting your cards from, the meadow, has 10 cards to draft from.
Yes.
And so each turn you have the option to do 3 things. You can place a worker, play a card either from your hand or from the meadow, and then draw a card. And that's either from the draw pile or from the meadow. So if you want to take a gamble or not. But each of those actions moves a token. So there's a sun and a moon token, and they start on the left hand of the board. And as you're playing, they move to the right hand side. And once they're both on the far right, that's the end of the season.
Yeah.
And so each action moves one of those tokens. So if you play a worker, I think if you place a worker, I think that moves the sun.
Yes.
The sun token. And so it basically just moves along through the meadow in between each of the spaces in the cards. And then if you play a card either from your hand or the meadow, you move the moon. And then if you draw a card, you get to choose if you want to move the sun or the moon. And so if the sun is all the way at the end and you still have workers to place, you can't place them anymore because the sun can't move anymore.
Yeah.
So it does kind of restrict the actions that you can take. It also restricts the cards that you can play from the meadow because you can only play a card from the meadow if the sun or the moon is touching one of those cards. So it'll be 4 cards
At the most. Yeah.
It'll be 8 cards at the most, depending on where they're at. But basically, it sits in the middle, and then like the little corners is where it'll.
So at the beginning of the season, you have very few cards to pick from because they're only touching 2.
Yeah.
And as it's moving, so you got to kind of pick and choose. Like, are you willing to wait for the sun or moon to move over? But then it's kind of a gamble, and you may not be able to get it, or the other player might get it first, kind of thing. So.
Yeah, and the way it balances the 2-player thing is, so it's the rabbit versus the turtle. So the tortoise and the hare. And when we first played, Nick was like, okay, well, which piece do you want? And I was like thinking about it. I was like, okay, well, the tortoise, because the tortoise wins in the story, right? And he's like, fine, I'll be the hare. And then I was reading the instructions, and it was like the player to have most recently taken a nap is the hare. And it was like, well, Nick, we literally woke Nick up from a nap to play this game. So that's more fitting anyway.
I like naps, all right? But
yeah, so it was a lot of fun. It's got the same mechanics as Everdell. So you place the worker to get resources or to do things. I think one of them was like you could draw a card from the meadow or something like that.
Yeah, different spaces had different actions, and just like Everdell, only one worker can be on a slot. Most of them were resources. Mm-hmm. There were some where like you could one of them was like get a random resource and draw a card, I think.
Right? Yeah.
And then one of them was get a random resource and get an occupied token.
Yeah,
which I think it's been a minute since we've played Everdell.
I think it's in the original one too.
You think so? And so like what those will let you do is you can play the occupied token on a color building, and it will let you basically play a critter of the same color without having to pay the berry cost, like for free.
A critter of the same color or just any critter?
Of the same color.
Oh.
So you had to play the occupied token on, like if I played it on a red building, I could then play a red critter for free. And so like, yeah, when you're building your city, it's split into 2. You have your buildings and critters. Yeah. Because like you have to have people to live in your buildings, so.
Yeah, and so I guess that's the building the city part. So you get to either build buildings, which generally cost stone, wood, resin. And then you can also recruit people to live in your city, which costs berries.
Gotta feed them.
Yeah, and so I felt like as far as this game compared to Everdell itself, I felt like this one was more focused on critters. I felt like there were way more critters to play than there were buildings.
There were definitely a lot of critters, I will say.
I had so many critters at one point. It was like I will never have enough berries to bring all of these into my city. But they were cool. Each of the critters could do different things, different color cards activated in different times in different ways. The green ones, for example, will activate at every other season start, and so you could get resources.
Spring and the beginning of autumn, I think.
Yeah, so you get resources from those, and I also had just all of the green cards, and so I got a lot of resources at one point, but it was like hard to do some of the events. So there's also, in addition to building your city, the other way to get points is to accomplish events, which is basically like, oh, you have one of each type of building. You can place your worker in this spot and claim that event, and then also get like a resource. And so those were little tiles at the top that are randomized in each game, and so they can vary.
It was pretty cool. They had like there was like 5 little stacks of events that you could shuffle and pick from. So you'll always have different events, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, so it was good in the competitive mode because there are different ways to play it. So competitively is how we played. Yeah. There's also cooperatively to see who gets the highest score. And then there's also like a campaign mode. And we didn't play the other two. Competitively, I won.
Because of course the tortoise beat the hare.
The tortoise beat the hare, but barely by the end. Because I was really upset because there was one event token that I was going to get on my next turn, and then Nic took it, and that was like 5 points. And we ended the game, and it was like, oh, well, he won because he got that event. And I was like, wait. There's one final scoring one, the journey for the. It was
having
like
the most cards in your hand and town, I think.
Yes, and I had way more, and so I got that, and I won. But yeah, so it was good. It was a very close game. It came down to that. I think before that we were like 2 points away.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun. It was a good game. The little pieces are adorable as always.
The tokens, just like the regular Everdell and its expansions, the tokens are adorable. The little wood pieces look like little Lincoln logs. The stones look like little polished river stones, like they're little plastic pieces.
Yeah.
The berries are these little squishy, like it's got to be like a plastic bead covered in rubber or something.
Yeah.
Because like they're squishy but firm, but they look just like little berries.
They do, cute. But those are the ones that I would change if I could.
Okay. What would you make them?
I would make them a little clear pink marble, because on the cards the icon for berries is what looks like a little clear pink marble.
It does look like a little pink ball, yeah.
And so I feel like that would be more satisfying than the squishy berry. Like it's really cute. It has the details, but it doesn't match the cards for me. And so either change the little icon on the cards or you change the little berry.
And then the last resource is resin, which are these cute little like a cluster. It's resin, obviously it's plastic, but it's like kind of this amber color, like it looks like amber resin from like a tree kind of thing.
Yeah, it's really cute. All the pieces are good. The box storage situation isn't the best. It came with so many little plastic baggies that every single type of piece could have its own little bag, which seems excessive. I would more rather prefer like a insert that you could put everything in. And I'm just spoiled because Parks and Trails has the most amazing inserts.
Well, maybe we should look and see because like there's a specific company that they use like Game Trays or something like that.
Yes.
Maybe Game Trays makes an insert for
other games. Yeah.
I mean, because like I would check that out. I mean, I people buy that. That's a product people buy online is board game box inserts.
Yeah.
Like we should look and see. Like I know we've had issues in the past. Like Splendor comes to mind.
Oh my gosh.
Where the insert like is there, but it does not do a good job of actually holding anything in place. So like if you put the box on its side at all, everything spills out and is a mess. So maybe we need to look at getting some game trays. Yeah,
and we do store our boxes on the side, kind of like a bookshelf kind of thing.
Yeah, because we don't want to stack them. They'll squish each other.
Yeah.
Some games are inherently heavier than others.
Yeah, there's also a few games, too, that I have like the internal dilemma of this box is way too big for what this game is. Like Machikoro, I can think of. Do you get rid of the box and make your own like 3D printed box or a smaller box? To me, getting rid of the original box feels wrong.
It feels wrong. I would almost rather make some sort of insert to make it fit in that box.
Well, it fits in the box.
No, but
it has its own plastic insert. But
that plastic insert sucks and doesn't actually hold anything in place.
It does.
Not if you put it on its side, it doesn't.
I think that's one of the ones that does do it, but it just is so much negative space in the box itself. I don't think box presence should be as important as some of these games are making it. I would sooner have a small box portable that I could take with me anywhere than a giant box that's mostly empty space, because Splendor's the same. It's like a deck of cards and like what, 28 or 30 tokens.
Yeah. It doesn't
that can fit in a tiny little thing.
It doesn't need the it's like a friggin' 1x6 like box.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be that big.
So that's just my opinion. But it also, I have the dilemma of, well, I don't want to get rid of the box.
Yeah.
But then you would just have empty boxes that are there for nothing.
That's why I'd rather just get an insert to put in there to try to better organize what's in there.
Yeah.
Or we learn how to. I've seen people online where they get like it's some kind of foam.
Yeah.
And they cut out what they want it to be. Maybe
foam doesn't work though, because that's what Splendor has. Yeah. It depends on how tightly you cut it, and then it's like, well, then can I get the pieces back out? It's another issue. But yeah, I would much rather have seen some kind of insert for the game. Again, I'm spoiled because I think Parks was one of the initial ones that I kickstarted, and it came with an amazing game insert trays.
Yeah,
and
those game trays definitely spoil you because it makes it so easy to because you can play out of those trays.
Yeah.
You just pop the lid off, and all of a sudden, there's your resource pool.
Yeah, and so then it makes it so much easier as far as setup and takedown. Versus like some games, it takes a long time to set up or take down the games. And then it's just kind of, do I want to spend 15 minutes putting this game together to play it for 30? Or do I want to just pull something out and play it real quick? This one doesn't take 15 minutes to do it. We'll probably just play from the plastic baggies from now on. But it would be nice little quality of life improvement, I think.
Yeah, I would definitely look at that. So Everdell Duo is a lot of fun. I mean, it just came out like this past year, right? Like we got that here at our new house.
Yeah, you kickstarted it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. I definitely love Everdell. The completionist in me will probably get all the expansions, even though I don't think we'll ever play all the expansions.
So for Everdell itself, we have
like 3 or
most
4.
of the expansions.
Yeah, we're missing like 2 or 3 of these.
We've never played it outside of the original game.
Yeah,
we've never played any of the expansions. So we need to actually play expansions.
We should try it. I just know like our kind of philosophy on it. Like I think of Seven Wonders Duel.
I was gonna say, I think of ones that I didn't care for the expansions, it would be Seven Wonders Duel. Yeah. I think the expansions were just too much.
They didn't
too
add
clunky.
enough to make it worth it. Which I think maybe the Everdell ones will be different. I mean, we have some because I kickstarted some.
Yeah, and you have that giant box.
And we have the Everdell Deluxe box that it has instructions on how to fit all the expansions in this box.
Oh, and I'm totally down to play with all the expansions. I'm just saying we haven't done it yet.
No, yeah, we should. But it's like I just know like our experience with expansions in the past hasn't been the best. So we should give it a try, and maybe we'll report back after we do that. But yeah, so I think we had a good time. It was a pretty busy month.
Yeah.
We had Duck Detective, The Secret Salami, right?
Yeah, so our games this month, to sum up, we've got Potion Permit, Duck Detective, The Secret Salami, Kingdom 2 Crowns, not Diner Dash, Traveler's Rest.
You talked about Diner Dash.
It's because I have it pulled up. And then Everdell Duo.
Yeah. So it's been a really busy month. I'm sure it'll be a good month coming up. Hopefully we'll find some more cool multiplayer games to dabble around into. Like you said, I think we're kind of done with Kingdom. So
yeah.
But yeah, we have plenty of multiplayer games to check out. But yeah. So I think that'll be it for us for this run. Thank you all so much for listening, and we'll
hope to see you next time.
Yeah. Bye.